In today's episode, my boss told me to find another job, so I did, right when they needed me the most. Boss tries to bully me. I get a new boss. Trying to pay with fake cash and then tell me to do my job? You got it. So let's get started. My boss told me to find another job, so I did, right when they needed me the most. Earlier today I was reading a story about a shitty manager that bullied someone into quitting their job. I decided to share a similar experience. Back when I was still working in HR, I got a great job offer. This was a publicly funded company with huge cultural impact, really the definition of an institution. Everyone who learned I worked there couldn't help but to feel slightly amazed at the discovery. Some people even rudely implying I had friends in the right places. Never mind, I was a recently graduate clueless young man with nothing to my name. This was my first real job too. Not counting internships or smaller summer jobs. As such, I really tried my best to be helpful and kind to everyone on my first year there, and maybe that's why I became a target. After I secured a permanent contract with them, with incredibly shitty pay and no benefits at all, I might add, one particular coworker got pretty salty about my position in the office, although for all intents and purposes, I was still beneath pretty much everyone there. This culminated in getting a call from this person, 30 minutes after I had left work, asking about a pile of papers she couldn't find. I remembered I had actually kept those papers on my desk and tell her to look there. I apologize profusely and ask her if she wants me to go back to help her deal with it. She simply says no and that everything is alright. Now, this was the type of coworker that always did the bare minimum and still whine about it at every chance she had. I never thought much of it, after all she was a mom and as such, she probably was pretty tired all the time. But I never thought she would turn on me, because she had to stay at work for 30 more minutes looking for a pile of papers. Half the time I would have to stay 1 or 2 hours after work to deal with my workload, so I thought it was no big deal. The next day, I again apologized to my coworker, but immediately noticed something wasn't quite right about the way she was acting with me. Throughout the day, I noticed her going out of the office with coworkers, sending them messages, and letting out these poisonous little laughs to herself every time I opened my mouth to say anything. From that day on, this was one of the people that decided to make my life a living hell. I made some friends in this place too. Some of them became really great friends that I still hang out and treasure to this day. But for the most part, it was an absolute hellhole. Here are some of the things that I experienced over my 3-year stay. Got one of the most important people in the company publicly shaming me for participating in an interview wearing sneakers. Keep in mind that no dress code was defined for interview or any other corporate event, and I had always worn sneakers. A sadistic manager who, on good days, would talk sh*t about everyone she had to work with and on bad days would downright bully and verbally assault me in front of other coworkers. A coworker who would often raise rumors about me based on nothing, the same who turned on me because of 30 extra minutes on the job. A coworker who, for no good reason, sprayed me and my friends with a fire extinguisher and HR who refused to do anything about it. Etc. I don't pretend that I was the perfect worker. I mean, it was my first job, I made a ton of mistakes and probably pissed a lot of people off. But I'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who could deal with this toxic workplace and keep their mental stability. All of this pushed me to a point of near nervous breakdown, and one day, I just couldn't take it anymore. It's a day just as any other. At some point after lunch, I come back into the office to find my coworker sitting at her desk all by herself. Weird, I thought. She usually came back from lunch way after I did. Obviously sulking, she acknowledges my presence by immediately accusing me of hiding papers to prevent her from doing her job. Keep in mind, it's been almost 3 years since she called me after work hours, and our relationship soured. This day would be the climax of that seething hatred we had both cultivated for one another. I shrug and tell her I have no idea what she's talking about. Never seen such papers and certainly have nothing to do with the situation. I sit down, also pissed now but ready to move on and not waste any more time on this subject. My manager comes in and notices something has happened. The tension is palpable. Before she has the chance to ask what's up, my coworker pipes up. Well, you see, what's happening is that Kono_Kermit_da is a liar. What? In all of my 3 years there, I never raised my voice, never talked back, never shown a hint of defiance until that very F***king moment. I can't deal with anyone calling me a liar. It's one of the things that makes me go absolutely insane with rage. I immediately cut her off and tell her how much of a toxic B***tch she is. I wasn't nice or even professional about it, and I really don't regret it. I didn't use any swear words, but I was definitely very personal about the way I responded. I can see their surprise. They never thought I would fight back. They expected me to take it and shut up forever. Things go downhill from here for me. My B***tch of a coworker gets transferred somewhere else, but I'm told I have to undergo behavioral training. For the first time in years I'm not taking sh**t, and I let my manager know I'm not interested. I had been humiliated for 3 years and finally stood up for myself. I wasn't going to be punished for that. My boss calls me to her office. Began asking weird questions like, are you happy here, and what do you want to do in the future? I told her about my grievances and how toxic this work culture is. In no uncertain terms, she tells me, you know, we have to renew your contract soon. But if you're not happy here, I would find a job somewhere else. What? I had given this company some of the best years of my youth. I worked for them day and night, going the extra mile even when they didn't ask me to for what amounted to be a little more than minimum wage. Their payback? Punishing me for standing up for myself once. Well, the problem for them is, I had been learning how to program while working. I would get off work late in the evening, go home and drag my exhausted body to my laptop to study up to 4 or 5 hours of coding. I realized I really liked coding. Like, a lot unbeknownst to them, I had began taking small coding projects for no pay, as having other paid jobs was forbidden in this company, and soon I was thinking of launching a career as a web developer. My contract ended and I expected to receive a call in 1 or 2 weeks to come by and sign the new contract. This was the usual process for workers like me. Weeks go by and I honestly believe they just decided to not hire me back. Didn't bother me, after all, I was already looking for a new job before my contract was even over. 3 months later, I get a call from my manager. Hi Kono_Kermit_da. How are you? Listen, we got your new contract here, why don't you come by to sign it? If you sign it today we can have you back by Monday. She goes on to tell me how much work there's been lately, and how they really need me back ASAP. All the projects I had worked on were halted because no one else wanted to work on them. A quarter of a year after they dropped me with no word of hiring me back. At this point however I was getting plenty of interviews for IT companies who were genuinely interested in my skills and portfolio. Thank you, I'm not coming back. The silence on the other end of the call was so sweet. My manager asks me to pass by anyway, she would like a word with me, and I still had my personal belongings at my desk. I agreed, figuring this was the only chance I'd have to stick it back to them, after 3 years of abuse. She sat me down with a disgustingly saccharine attitude that she would seldom display while I was working for them. The whole meeting was essentially a desperate attempt to bring me back into the company, and me refusing it at each turn. That's okay, she said, what are you going to do then? I told her I'd work as a programmer. My reply is met with laughter. I remain silent. That's good, she continued, I'm sure you can do it. But you know, I would seriously consider staying with us. I reiterate I'm not interested and even let her know I'm moving away in a couple of months. Again, she laughs at me. Apparently, my plans for the future were so extraordinarily out of my reach in her opinion, that she just couldn't help but to laugh. Just a last little slap on my face. Finally she asks, "Why would you want to leave us?" I shrugged, unable to contain my smile. "You people told me to get a job if I wasn't happy here. I'm just following your suggestion." Much to my manager's chagrin, I did land a job in web development, and after I left this job, because I wanted to immigrate, my employer liked my work so much he asked me to keep working for them remotely until I found another job in my destination. I've been working as a web developer for 3 years now, and every single day, I look back at my previous career and wipe the sweat off my forehead knowing I dodged a lifetime of misery and abuse. As for my previous workplace, they're still going strong. After all, it is a huge institution, and my part in it wasn't that important. But my team was pretty badly hit. Without me they couldn't perform interviews and keep some of their projects going. For a couple of months, the whole thing was hot garbage until they unfortunately hired another clueless recent graduate. But honestly, knowing those people have to wake up and go to work in the hell they have personally created, feels like enough of a punishment for me. Hope they find the inner peace they want so badly. Boss tries to bully me. I get a new boss. Many moons ago, mid-90s, I worked for an ISP, not in US nor Europe, looking after various back-end systems. There were 2 of us in the same team. What was weird is that they went through a mini restructure, and we both had different bosses, even though we did the same work and shared the load between us. I was single at the time, and lived about 5 minutes drive from the office. My official office hours were 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., becomes relevant later. Often stayed until after 7 p.m. to do work, learn new Unix things, troubleshoot major issues. At some point I decided my old car was past its prime, so bought another one. I sent my boss a number of emails about how the following week I was going to take a longer lunch, as the car would be ready for collection/trading an old one. I also told him about it twice the week before the collection date. CYA people. Day of collection, everything is great. Took 2 hours to get the paperwork all sorted out. Hoping car is an absolute magnet for the opposite sex, off I go. 2 days later I get called into a meeting and get absolutely shat on about why did I take such a long lunch. Boss needed me for something but I wasn't there. This was in days pre-mobiles being readily available. I was upset. Tried to tell him I told him I was taking long lunch. Kept interrupting me and shouting over me. I left super annoyed. Cue malicious compliance. I started working my official hours. After the second day I get a phone call at home. Company had numbers in case of emergency at 5 p.m. It's boss, asking where I am. Told him I'd left for the day and was at home about to fire up red alert on my PC. He told me that was unacceptable and needed me to do something. How could I leave at this time, blah blah. Shouted he's getting HR involved. I told him it was unacceptable to talk to me like that, and we can address this issue the next day at work, and hung up on him. Thanks mom for helping me get strong backbone to do that, nearly wet myself. Next day HR, CEO, and my boss call me into a meeting. I knew this was coming, and had printed off the emails about taking long lunch. Boss goes off at me about disrespect, lack of performance, taking long lunches etc. I showed the email, explained the situation, and asked what's the issue? At this point I thought he was going to have a heart attack, he was so angry and red in the face. CEO asked me to leave the meeting, they would discuss. Outcome was I got the same manager my coworker reported into. Everything went back to being great. Karma being a bitch, my ex-boss actually did have a heart attack a few months later. He survived, but changed his ways. A lot less alcohol and smoking. Trying to pay with fake cash and then tell me to do my job? You got it. On mobile, sorry for the format. This happened about 7 years ago. I am 29, used to work in a store whose name sounds a lot like those cops that ride in planes. This particular day I was in the register when a well-dressed guy and 3 women walk in, each takes a cart, start walking around and picking things out. I was known for my no BS attitude on the register. You throw money at me, give me attitude, W.E. I'll do it right back to you. So when a coordinator comes to me 30 minutes later and asks me to take the dude and his girls on my register, I already know we're in for a fun time. They rolled up with these 3 carts full of clothes, and not just any stuff. We talking shoes and boots that costs $300 to $800, expensive handbags, coats and more. I'm just there thinking, oh shit. So they walk up, I start scanning all the while these ladies are being unpleasant. Finally I get through it all and total comes up to about $3K. Dude reaches into his fly-ass coat and pulls out a wad of cash, all crisp $100 bills, and immediately I knew something was off. So I take the money and go to the machine to check it. First bill doesn't pass, neither does the second, so I turn back around and tell the dude I can't take the money. Before I even get a chance to fully explain, one of the chicks cuts me off and tells me to take the F-king money and do my damn job. Cue malicious compliance. I say, you know what? You got it, let me get the manager so he can help. See, at our discretion, we can decline a form of payment. Say if 2 of your cards get declined? Gotta use cash, your cash don't pass? Gotta use a card, or we can just tell you to F***CK off, but if we suspect you're using fake money, we gotta try and keep you there while we get the cops. So I got to my manager, cash in hand, and tell him what's up. He goes to the office and checks the money. Now the dude is nervous, but just imagine his pants when 2 cops walk in and head straight for us. His horrified face made my day. Cops take my statement, and next thing you know all 4 of them are getting arrested, while one of the ladies is screaming and cursing at me, while I tell her in the most innocent voice I can pull off, you told me to do my job. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.